a service of CNC Worldwide.
The Daily is a service of CNC News and Jib Jab Greetings. I'm Bud Lowell, your full AccuWeather forecast all across the top of your CNC local news page. Rochester police are investigating the death of a man found in an apartment on Tacoma Street Wednesday morning. Officers were called to the house for a reported burglary. They found the apartment door open and the dead man inside. Police haven't released an identity, but family members say the victim was 53-year-old Todd Davidson, who lived in the apartment. Police do say there were signs of trauma leading them to suspect a homicide, although they're treating it as an unattended death at the moment. A search with a K-9 unit led them around the corner to Glendale Park, where they interviewed several people who may have been connected with the incident. No arrests so far, and police are asking anyone with information to call 911. Federal prosecutors have charged a Georgia man with selling more than 45 handguns plus ammunition to an associate in Rochester. Lyndon Young was arrested on multiple weapons charges. Court documents filed by the U.S. Attorney's Office say the 32-year-old brought the guns to Rochester from Georgia over the past 4 months, and here they were sold illegally to people in the Rochester area. Young faces up to 10 years in prison, a $250,000 fine, or both. There's no word yet on what charges anyone else may be facing because of this case. The man accused of beating a SUNY Brockport freshman to death last year will go on trial September 30th, which is the anniversary of his crime. Clayton Whittemore, a 21-year-old from Oneida County, is accused of second-degree murder in the death of 18-year-old Alexandra Kogut. Whittemore allegedly killed her in her dorm room at the SUNY Brockport campus. He'll be back in court in May for a pretrial hearing. He remains in jail in the meantime. Whittemore's lawyer is preparing an emotional disturbance defense. This is different from an insanity defense. It means Whittemore was suffering from extreme emotional disturbance at the time of the crime, in the defense's viewpoint at least, and it could mean the difference between murder and manslaughter if the jury accepts it. Monroe County District Attorney Sandra Doorley says she wants to see Whittemore reviewed by a doctor and then see the doctor's opinion. State police have charged 3 Rochester area people with trading in stolen property. Michael Dionese and Michael Sheffer, both of West Henrietta, work in different area pawn shops. Police say they bought merchandise they knew was stolen and sold it in their stores, also online. Both men are charged with criminal possession of stolen property and are out on $5,000 bail. The third man arrested remains in the Monroe County Jail. He's LaJoyne Green, a 38-year-old Rochester man, also charged with criminal possession of stolen property. A lot of this is crime and punishment news today. The former executive director of the Canandaigua Civic Center will spend the next 1 to 3 years in prison after admitting that he embezzled $71,000 from the center. 48-year-old Michael Cronin was arrested last summer, and he admitted to taking the money between December of 2010 and shortly before his arrest. In Penfield, there's concern from some residents and people whose children go to Doodlebugs Daycare because Jeremiah's Tavern wants to build a new restaurant next door at 2614 Fairport 9 Mile Point Road. The Penfield Town Board reviewed the application Wednesday night. They have it on their agenda for possible action at the regular February 20 meeting. Some parents came to the review session because they don't think a bar and restaurant belongs next to a daycare. And since Jeremiah's plans an outdoor patio, some neighbors wanted to know about what steps will be taken to mitigate the noise. Penfield Supervisor Tony LaFountain says he's also interested in seeing those issues addressed, but he says the daycare owners have not expressed similar concerns. And an attempt to produce a polar bear cub has failed at the Seneca Park Zoo. Zoo officials say they tried to artificially inseminate Aurora, the zoo's female polar bear, but it didn't take. They worked with technicians from the Cincinnati Zoo's Center for Conservation and Endangered Wildlife last spring. They took a sperm sample from the male polar bear Zero and attempted the world's first artificial insemination of polar bears. Now Seneca Park officials say they'll just let the bears be together and see if nature takes its course. Polar bears are a threatened species under the U.S. Endangered Species Act. To the left of the player window are links to these and other stories. At the bottom of the page, links you can use to post news items directly to us. And what you share with us helps dictate what we can bring to you on the news. The next news is as it happens. Updates are when necessary. I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.